Coachella Weekend 2 was supposed to be the calm after the storm, but somehow it turned into something way worse. What should have been a normal festival weekend spiraled into fake influencer scandals, brand drama, private jet backlash, and some of the most out-of-touch moments the internet has seen in a long time. And the craziest part is, a lot of what people were watching online wasn't even real. It all started with what looked like a massive scandal. Influencers everywhere were posting the same story, saying they got invited to Coachella by brands, only to be suddenly uninvited just days later.
So I got invited to Coachella this year with a brand and then uninvited. Long story short, they emailed me. I was so excited. 3 days later, they were like, actually, you're not invited anymore. And I was like, period.
At first, it sounded believable. Some even showed emails claiming brands pulled out last minute, leaving them stranded with no hotels, no travel plans, nothing. There was even a reason going around. Reports said Airbnb owners were canceling pre-booked stays and relisting them at double the price because demand was so insane this year. So yeah, some creators definitely got burned. But then, things started getting weird, because suddenly everyone had the same story. Big creators, small creators, even people no one had heard of. And that's when people started asking, how many of these stories are actually real? Some creators began pointing out that certain details didn't make sense, and others went even further, claiming some influencers were straight up lying just for views. And once that idea hit the internet, everything flipped. Instead of sympathy, people started calling it out as clout chasing. There were even viral clips of influencers claiming they turned down insane offers, like getting paid $200,000 just to attend Coachella.
The discourse got so big online with the uninvited influencer that I saw the comments take a very quick turn and people were like, this isn't real. Y'all realize that? Like, yes, some influencers had straight up messages they were willing to show and call out the brands. I no doubt that was real. They got uninvited, that was real. But there were a lot of influencers, and this is what happens with TikTok just because it's such a I want views, like I'll do anything for views type of app. I'll lie for views. Influencers were lying about they were never invited to begin with. They just wanted to make the video to get the click and have the attention on them. So there were a lot of influencers who lied about it.
There was some that I saw that literally were like, this didn't happen.
Okay.
I literally saw myself.
You were like,
I was like, this is crazy. I was like, girl, that's not happening. The brand is not telling you that. The brand is not telling you the reason you can't. Like, some of the stories, like, actually, I'm not kidding you, made no sense.
They were too vague.
And they were too vague. And then almost like they were trying to be specific about things, but the things didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Where I was like, that's not happening. Like, that's not normal. It's not normal. And then I also saw this. Okay, I saw this one creator too, and I was like, liar. Like, I just knew she was lying. I saw TikTok and she was talking about how last year a brand invited her and they paid her. They were like, I'm offering you $200,000.
No, it depends on the size of the influencer. But
She had like 300,000 followers.
No.
And people were not buying it. Because realistically, even top-tier creators don't usually get that kind of money for a single weekend appearance. So when smaller influencers started claiming it, the internet wasn't convinced. Just like that, the entire uninvited narrative went from sympathy to suspicion.
You pay me $200,000 to go to Coachella, and I promise I don't care what your brand is. It could be any brand. It's not going to bother me. I promise I'll align immediately. I just saw a video of a girl who said she was offered $200,000 to go to Coachella, and she said no because basically it didn't align with her principles or her morals, and so she didn't want to go. You said no for $200,000? You tell me you're paying me $200,000. Like, I could have heard of you yesterday, and I'd still be ready to go. It doesn't matter who it is. It could be some random brand that nobody's ever heard of. All of a sudden you're offering me to go to the desert and have some fun. I'm there. I'm ready. What's the dress code?
But that wasn't even the real problem, because behind the scenes, brands were doing something even more controlling. One creator revealed something that completely changed how people saw these brand trips. She said a brand invited her to Coachella.
I got an email on Monday of this week for a brand trip to Coachella this weekend, right now, for $10,000, flat fee, plus a flight, plus the VIP package, plus the wristband, like everything.
Everything seemed normal. Until the contract showed up. And buried inside it was a restriction that said she couldn't attend any other brand events during the weekend. Not one, not even casually. Now at first, that might not sound that crazy, until you realize Coachella is basically built on networking between brands. So she questioned it. She asked if she could attend just one other event.
And like one of the big agreements this weekend was like I only had to wear their clothes, which I was like, okay, like I'm fine with that. They asked me to sign this contract and it basically said I wasn't allowed to go to any other event at Coachella. And this would have been fine if they had told me this in the beginning, but I had already RSVP'd to Camp Poosh, Revolve Fest, 818 Pose. Then I get back to them, I'm like, this is low-key so sneaky. Like, what the hell? Y'all just snuck that into the contract. So then I asked them, like, would it be okay if I just attend maybe just one event? Instead of like responding back being yes or no, they fully were like, we're about to drop you, and then have completely ghosted me from then. So basically, I don't think I'm going anymore.
And instead of negotiating, the brand allegedly dropped her completely and ghosted her. No explanation, no compromise, just gone. Online, people started speculating about which brand it was. Nothing confirmed, but the conversation exploded. Because suddenly, Coachella didn't look like a fun brand trip anymore. It looked controlled. Like influencers weren't guests, they were assets. But what came next made things look even worse. Because while some influencers were getting dropped, others were walking into something that looked like a billionaire shopping spree. Gifting suites. Now, if you've never heard of them, this is where things get insane. Brands rent out massive luxury houses, fill them with clothes, accessories, tech, makeup, even designer items, and then invite influencers to walk in and take whatever they want.
Into our super fun gifting suite that we have for Coachella.
So basically we're going to write down what we like on here. So let's go find some clothes. So here are all the clothes. Look how cute these bikinis are. This one's really cute.
Slay.
They literally have everything here. Thank you. Thank you. I can't wait to try everything on.
Got my bag and I'm all ready for Coachella.
No limits, no restrictions, just grab and go. At first glance, it looks like a dream. But the moment people saw what was happening inside, the reaction flipped instantly.
There's something that happens at Coachella called the Revolve Gifting Suite. Everybody always comes every year and gets the most insane shit. Last year they had Dysons. It's basically like a free-for-all for influencers to get free shit. Let me get some more of those. Get some lip balm. Why not? I think I need one of these. We have to buy a new suitcase, I think. We have to buy 2 new suitcases. Some diesel sunglasses. Do you like these? Yes. Yeah, 100%. But look at all these pickles. So much stuff. Do I want a cowboy hat? Yes. You thought we were done? There's a whole nother area out here. Should I get these? Should I get that? They have Levi's. I want living. They have Caraway. Hello. That is insane.
Videos started going viral, showing influencers casually picking up piles of free stuff like it was nothing. Designer sunglasses, expensive skincare, bags full of products. And the comments were brutal. People were asking why wealthy influencers were being handed thousands of dollars worth of free items, while regular people are struggling to afford basic things. Some even said these videos made them want to avoid those brands completely. And that's when it hit. This wasn't good marketing. It was backfiring badly. But somehow, the next controversy made even this look small. Because if there's one thing that really pushed people over the edge, it was the private jets. Now yes, influencers flying private isn't new, but this time it felt different.
Went to Coachella. We flew there with JSX, which is amazing. We flew there last year.
Oh, they're amazing.
Someone said you live in SoCal. Why are you flying to Coachella?
Kylie Jenner.
Well,
We pulled a Kylie Jenner.
we did. The thing is, if I brand something like, hey, would you like to fly there or drive 4 hours? It's kind of tough to turn down. It'll be so real.
The jet is going either way.
It's gonna happen.
The jet is going whether
either
we get
it
on it or not. The jet is going.
Yeah.
Okay.
So either you fly 30 minutes or you drive 4 hours.
Yep. That's it.
We chose to fly for 30 minutes.
Every single time.
People started noticing something. Most of these influencers live just a few hours away from Coachella. We're talking a 3 to 6 hour drive. And instead of driving, they were flying on private jets. Some defended it, saying if a brand offers it, why not take it? Others said the jet would fly anyway, so it doesn't matter. But the internet wasn't buying that logic. And then one situation completely took over. One influencer didn't just take a jet. He reportedly flew alone just to create content. Not for the full weekend, not for a big event, just to show up, take photos, and leave a few hours later. And that's when people lost it. Because it wasn't about convenience anymore. It looked like pure excess just for attention. And suddenly, the conversation around Coachella changed completely. It was no longer about music, it was about optics. And that became even more obvious when people started noticing something else. The crowds. Or more specifically, how lifeless they looked. Clips started going viral showing massive audiences just standing there. No dancing, no singing, no energy. Just phones everywhere recording, watching through screens instead of actually being present. Even influencers themselves started calling it out, and viewers couldn't believe what they were seeing. Because online, Coachella looked like the best party in the world. But behind the scenes, it looked empty. Like people weren't there for the experience. They were there for the content. And honestly, that might be the biggest shift of all. But then, something finally broke that pattern. Because one performance completely changed the energy. When Justin Bieber showed up during Weekend 2, everything shifted. The crowd woke up, people were singing, moving, actually reacting. It didn't feel staged, it didn't feel forced, it just felt real. And compared to everything else that weekend, that stood out. Of course, not everything went perfectly. There were moments where fans got a little too close, crossing boundaries. But overall, it was one of the few highlights people didn't criticize, which says a lot about how the rest of the weekend went. But while some people were stealing the spotlight, others were questioning why they weren't there at all. One major artist even spoke out, saying he's consistently left out of events like Coachella, claiming he's uninvited and uninvolved every year. And that opened up another conversation, because now people were wondering, is this about relevance, or is something happening behind the scenes? Nothing confirmed, but it added another layer to an already messy weekend. And just when it seemed like things couldn't get more chaotic, they did, because then came what people started calling Pizzachella. Multiple people claimed they got seriously sick after eating from a specific food vendor. We're talking hours after eating, feeling terrible, some even saying it ruined their entire weekend. Now, to be clear, nothing has been officially confirmed. Some people said they were completely fine, others said it was one of the worst experiences they had.
Don't know 100% definitively if that was the culprit, but all I know is I ate pizza in the festival on Friday, and I had a not great experience ordering it from them, and then threw up within 2 hours, 3 hours of having it, and then the whole next day did not have a sip of alcohol and was coming out the other end, and that's the day I was completely out, down for the count on Saturday. So
I tried spicy pie for the first time yesterday at Coachella. Now I'm finding out that other people felt sick afterwards, and I felt so queasy afterward, and I had to go to the porta potty. So that's how you know it was really, really bad. I was so desperate that I had to go in the porta potty.
So right now, it's all speculation. But the fact that so many people were saying the same thing got attention fast. And yet, even that wasn't the craziest story, because the final situation sounded like something out of a movie. One influencer arrived at her Coachella rental property only to find signs that someone had already been inside. Not just inside, but leaving behind photos of themselves with their names and social handles, almost like they wanted to be found. And according to her, it might not have been random. There's speculation it could have been some kind of inside job involving the property system. Nothing confirmed, but it raised serious concerns. Because now it wasn't just about influencer drama, it was about safety. She reportedly had to hire full-time security and still pay for the house. And at that point, people started stepping back and asking a bigger question.
Comes back to the front door wide open. The latch by the padlock had been messed with, and he's kind of like, okay, what's going on? But he is soon met with none other than Polaroid strips of these two girls placed all around the house. Master bedroom, kitchen, whole nine. And get this, their full names, their Instagram handles, their governments, they left it all. Just so you know, I'm not lying. The police are like, yeah, no one broke and entered. Basically, this property, amongst many others, are managed by Helios and all of the check-ins and the whatever. I booked the house on Verbo. Someone went in the back end before I checked in, went into my profile, got all the information, and then wiped it clean. So either these two girls know someone at Helios or these two girls are someone at Helios.
What is Coachella now? Because looking at everything that happened, it doesn't feel like a music festival anymore. It feels like a content factory, where everything is calculated, every moment is filmed, every appearance is strategic, and every experience is filtered through how it will perform online. And honestly, that might be why so many people felt something was off this year. Because when the cameras stop, the reality doesn't match the posts. So here's the real question. If phones disappeared tomorrow, if there was nothing to post, no content to chase, would people still go? Or would Coachella look completely different?